Hello and welcome back to the Fight and Talk 2 podcast. We are the Fight and Talk 2 tripod. Mr. Eloquent Analyst, how are we doing, sir? Nice to see you back.
Good to be back, man. Good to be talking mixed martial arts. It's been a hot minute. It's hot in London, and we're ready to talk about some fights.
That's it. And then down in Casual Crush Corner, we have George. How are we doing with the fresh hair, my friend?
Yeah, also like London, it's too hot down here. So I cut my hair off because now I'm nice and cool. I've followed shearing the sheep like they do here in the summer, and I've sheared myself.
I like it. And as we all know, the hair defines the man. You know, now we have short hair, George. We don't know what's coming next. We don't know what's coming with short hair, George.
The return of the tripod means no hat prath. So this is we're treading new territory here, guys.
It's all go. It is all go. We've had a couple of weeks off because we've had random stuff going on between us all, but now we are back and we are back to talk about some fights. So if you are listening and you enjoy our content, please hit like, hit subscribe, and you can find us on all outlets. We are everywhere. We are up in the grill of all people at all times. And now we will be consistent with our content once again. So onwards and upwards, we have this weekend the return of TJ. What is it? PDO? PO? What did he do?
EPO.
TJ EPO Dillashaw is back versus Corey the Sandman Sanhagen, which is very, very exciting. We have been talking about this for weeks and months, and I feel like it's come around super, super freaking fast because he's been away for 2.5 years, right? TJ's been away for 2.5 years after getting done for juicing, going down to a weight that he should never have gone down to. And there is some absolute bangers on this card as well. Normally with this kind of card, we have some ups, we have some downs, but there is some fantastic fights on this card. And we are going to start off with what we all think is going to be fight of the night. Adrian Yanez versus Randy Costa. Prath, what do you think is going to go on with this fight, man? Because Adrian Yanez has got a lot of hype behind him.
Yeah, man. Adrian Yanez is the truth, man. And every fight he's been in so far has been an incredible fight. I'm expecting fireworks here because Randy Costa is tough as hell as well. So, man, this is one of the fights on this card that I really don't know where to call it because I think I actually rate the hell out of both of these guys. I think on pure hype alone, you're probably going to want to look Yanez. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't know if these guys knock each other out. I think it's going to be a war back and forth. But yeah, I think the fan choice would be Adrian Yanez, but you can't count out Randy Costa. I think he's been in quite a few fights where people have given him the benefit of the doubt, and then he's come out there and put work out there, man. Good consistent work. So Randy, for me, I feel like Randy Costa's probably going to take this. It's going to be a tight fight, and as much as I think Adrian Yanez is well deserved of his hype, I think Randy Costa has the technical skills to really, make this a point fight, which I think is what it's going to end up being.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys are coming into the octagon with not an amazing amount of experience between them. Randy Costa's coming in 6-1. Yanez is coming in 13-3. So both of them are very, very young in their careers as well. And I find it very strange that the UFC pitch these guys up that are, you have hype train versus hype train, and it's almost like one of them is going to get derailed. Do you know what I mean? But George, what do you think is going to happen? Because I can see a big, big smile on your face, man. You are super hyped for this fight, right?
Yes, absolutely. And as a man of the people, Connor, I shall be going for the people's champion in this fight. Adrian Yanez is going to knock out Randy Costa. And I'll tell you why he's going to knock out Randy Costa. Because sometimes in life you get blessed with just pure hands. You've just got it. Yeah, pure fists. Adrian Yanez possesses pure fists. Everyone tells you it. Everyone sees it. Everyone is going to witness it on Saturday night. It's going to happen. Randy Costa is going to get himself knocked out by Adrian Yanez's fists. I'm telling you. You wait. It'll be all over it. And then all the boxing people who want to come and invade MMA, like the Teddy Atlases and the Max Kellermans and all that crap. Sorry, can't swear. Sorry, I was It can't just. They'll come and tell you that these the best things since sliced bread because he's got great hands. I'm telling you, that's what he's got. He's got great hands, and he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it happen on Saturday night.
Well, I mean, I know you're not a massively betting man, but if you were to put money on it, what round and how? You think it's gonna be a KO? Okay, but when?
KO round 2. I'll put about 10 grand on it.
10 grand round 2. Wow, I want to see the betting slip here, George. I want to see this betting slip, man.
Busy week. I need a busy week of work.
Oh, I'm super excited for that fight as well. And then I think the next one we're going to talk about is Ian Heinisch versus Nasruddin Imavov. Now, both of these guys, I feel like they've been around forever because we've spoken about them quite a number of times on this show as well. But neither of them, I feel, are ever going to be in that top 5%ers. Do you know what I mean? Imavov, we've spoken about him before. We think he's going to be, although he's called the Russian sniper, I think he's more of a Russian sleeper because, I mean, it just seems like he just cruises to quite a lot of decisions, and he has done in the past as well. He either loses a decision or wins the decision. I was just looking at his record just briefly, and I don't think that he's going to be putting anyone to sleep. But Ian Heinisch coming out as well, man, 14-4, and the guy's just come off of a loss to Kelvin Gastelum. But I feel like Kelvin Gastelum just wants to fight absolutely anyone there is possible at any time possible. But George, what do you think? Do you think Imavov gets this done at the weekend, or do you think Heinisch can turn back the clock? Because I feel like he's like 43, but he's probably not. He's like 31.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It seems like a bit of a drop off for Ian Heinisch. Said it's like off recording, like. You fight Kelvin Gastelum, who, in my opinion, is actually quite underrated, and then you drop down to Imavov, who had a bit of hype, but kind of feels like the hype train is well and truly derailed because, like you said, he's a bit boring. Let's be honest. I kind of feel like Heinisch has dropped himself back down to then come back up almost. Do you see what I'm going? Like, it feels a bit like that. It feels like kind of Ian Heinisch should really get this done at the weekend. I'm kind of expecting him to win it. I'm not impressed so far with Imavov. I feel like I need to see way more. Maybe this weekend's the opportunity to do it against a guy like Ian Heinisch, but I'm not. As a non-betting man, I'm not betting on Imavov. If I had to bet, I'll bet on Heinisch.
But just looking at Heinisch's record here, obviously in his last 5 fights, he's 3-2, so 3 losses and 2 wins. Sorry, but. I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough, long fight for these two gentlemen. Prath, what do you think, man? Do you think Heinisch comes out and puts some work on because he seems to cruise to a decision, man?
I think this is going to be one of the sleeper. When you say sleeper fight, you normally commonly think of like a really underrated fight on the card. This is the fight that's going to send everyone to sleep. I have to say it. I'm going to be honest here. And then what people are going to do is tune into the next fight and wake the hell back up because, yeah, I think both guys are very much. I wouldn't call them decision machines or like guys that go out there searching for a decision. I don't think any of these fighters really are going out there searching for a decision. It just happens to happen when you're trading fists back and forth for 15 minutes and you can't knock the guy out and they can't knock you out. It is what it is. I don't think that's what you're going to see here, though. I think you're just going to see 2 guys hugging each other and holding each other against the cage, reversing position on the cage, throwing like a knee to the belly, and then holding them there for a minute or so before the referee pulls them apart. I like Ian Heinisch. I think Ian Heinisch has got a great story. I know he spent a bit of time in a European prison of some sort. I want to say Canary Islands or something of that nature. So he's got a great story, come back from something like that to compete in the largest mixed martial arts organization in the world. It's kind of got a story inbuilt there. And I think that's why you maybe saw him against a Kelvin Gastelum because he did get a couple of wins before that. But I think you're right in the sense that I think Kelvin Gastelum really just wanted to kind of fight anyone at that point. So I think Ian probably will take it. I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to be a hell of a boring fight, though. If we could get an award for most boring fight of the night, do they get £50,000 taken away from them instead?
Oh,
hey Dana, pay me.
Yeah, like a wooden spoon. You know, like you get the wooden spoon award. It's like, thanks for turning up. Here's your wooden spoon for just being here, man.
I feel like people should take accountability though for those kind of performances. When you get into the cage and you just sit and hug someone against the cage for 15 minutes, like, you know, I'm all for jiu-jitsu, I'm all for wrestling, and you know, these fellas will know that I'm very much an advocate for both of those things, but I'm not an advocate for a boring fight. I don't. Why are you training for 6 weeks to just hold a guy against the cage for 15 minutes? That isn't what mixed martial arts is. That's what mixed martial arts is becoming or slash become. But that's not what the fans enjoy. The fans hate that. But these guys are going in with the mentality to go out there and get a win, get their paycheck, which I understand as well. But if you really want to elevate yourself to the top of the divisions, have those key fights, be in those main events, be in those 5-round fights, you need to go out there and make a name for yourself. And I'm sure these are the things that Dana White are telling these guys in the fighting meetings, you know, the day before they go out and fight. They do the weigh-ins, they do all their media stuff, and then they sit in a room with Dana White, and Dana White kind of drills into them the importance of the event, or, you know, who's headlining, the numbers from ESPN last week. You know, I don't think Ian Heinisch is one of those guys that is really like beating down the door to be, you know, ESPN's next top star. But I think if he is going out there and putting on a good performance, that is what is going to drive people to want to watch him more. And he's sitting here in the prelim. He fought Kelvin Gastelum in his last fight. He's now sitting in the prelims. That shows you what, you know, his fall from grace in that sense. Also makes me kind of wonder why the hell Randy Costa or Adrian Yanez is on the undercard here. But, you know, with a fight like that as well on the prelims, it doesn't make sense for me. And, you know, these are one of the things that we talked about before, you know, like, how do they structure the cards? Why do they structure the cards in the way that they do? And I think it's very interesting to put them in the position that they have been put in this one. But I think it speaks volumes to what they are as fighters.
Completely. And, you know, when you look at like the Conor McGregor era of and the noise he made within the sport, it's kind of like, if you can get some fantastic wins, some fantastic knockouts, like we all know the 13-second Jose Aldo knockout, and it's like that completely changed the world. Do you know what I mean? When he slept in with the left hook, it changed the world. When Israel Adesanya knocked out Derek Brunson with his like sniper punch, do you know what I mean? And Sean O'Malley with his walk-off knockouts, Mark Hunt with his walk-off knockouts. You know, these kind of people go down in history for what they've achieved and the successes that they had. But it was like highlight reel stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, are you going to get to the top of the game just by cruising to a decision every time? Probably not. Or it'd take you a very, very long time.
And unless you're called Cyril Gahn.
Well, you know, but we've spoken about that before, and we've spoken about his aesthetics and where he's from and the demographic that he speaks to. And that's the demographic that the UFC clearly want to try and engage with. So from a marketing perspective, I think it's very, very smart of what they do. You know, as we've said before 1,000 times on this show, they pick certain people to drive with because they can hone in on a certain demographic of people. You know, if you have a fantastic female fighter that's 21, you know, you're capturing that market, or, you know, attempting to capture that market. And if you have, I don't know, a different demographic of people that a certain person would be able to relate with better. The European fans, for instance, would, you know, go ahead with Garn a little bit better because he's French. You know, the fact that he's built like an absolute brick toilet, you know, and it speaks volumes to, you know, he doesn't need to perform. He just needs to win, and he'll get put into positions that will benefit his career.
I was just going to make a point actually, just real quick on that exact thing. Like, you know, obviously we're talking about, you know, putting these people from different markets and wanting to hone in on them and have them at those top of those cards. Like, a name that just sprang into my mind was Li Jingliang, right? Li Jingliang is a hugely popular Chinese fighter. He's about to fight Khamzat Chimaev. And so when you look at that, that's a tough fight for him, but that's a fight that's going to get him to that main event, co-main event spot. That is then, you know, if he beats Khamzat Chimaev, then, you know, he's massive in China. Not only massive in China, then he becomes world renowned, because I think people respect the hell out of Khamzat Chimaev. But they wouldn't match Khamzat Chimaev against someone who's boring. They want him to fight someone that's going to come forward. That's why they gave him Leon Edwards. That's why they were going to give him Leon Edwards. That's why they've given him Li Jingliang, because they know that this is someone that's going to bring the best out of Chimaev's game. And also, not only that, you tick the boxes of Russia, you tick the boxes of Sweden and China. This is I love how international the UFC is. Like, I think that's the point I want to make here as well. It's just, I love that they do hone in on these places and do give spotlights to these countries that do deserve it. Like China, man. China's put out some great athletes. And I think the fact that they not only rate these guys so highly, but put them so high on the card speaks to, their popularity in their countries, but also wanting to bring out the best of them and show the world, like, hey, look at this dude from China. He can fight real damn good. So here's the rest of the world. You guys check this guy out.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree. Like, George, you're a massive fan of, obviously, like the guys from the stranger. I say stranger, but like, lesser known countries.
Dagestan.
The Georgians, the Turkmenistanis. The places that you don't see on a daily basis. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to hear about on a daily basis, but it's good that the UFC still give. They should anyway, but to give them the time of day, essentially, from being from such a small place, but they get obviously the demographic from their home countries on board as well, which is fantastic. And we've seen a resurgence, and we've seen a massive influx in Russian fighters, Dagestani fighters, and fighters from that neck of the woods and that part of the world, which is, partly due to the COVID restrictions and stuff, and obviously having Fight Island and everyone going to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, etc. So it is what it is. I doubt it ever would have been in the plan to have that many Russian fighters on the roster and that many Dagestani fighters on the roster, but needs must. The UFC machine turned a negative into a positive and have brought on some absolutely fantastic athletes.
I agree.
There you go. Nice one. So now the next one we're going to talk about is Brandon Allen versus Punahele Soriano. I think this is going to be an absolute screamer of a fight as well. Brandon Allen coming in 16-4. Soriano coming in 8-0 with some fantastic wins under his belt as well. George, tell me what you're looking forward to in this fight.
I'm looking forward to an absolute scrap. That's what I'm looking forward to. Looking forward to two guys who are going to, come and give it pretty much everything they've got. I reckon it'll do quite well to get out the first 5 minutes, to be honest. I reckon it's going to be an absolute slug. And Punahele Soriano has shown in his short UFC career so far that he's got an absolute freight train of hands, that he possesses. He is blessed with that kind of superhuman-like strength, basically. And I expect something pretty similar on Saturday. I really believe that he's someone that is slowly but surely progressing forwards. There's a long way to go, only 9 professional fights, but the signs so far have been really promising. But this is a little bit more of a step up in class now. So you're getting tested by the UFC. Can you get through this? And if you can get through the next couple of fights, then people really are going to start talking about you. So it's a test. Brendan Allen's been around. He's got more experience, obviously. I think it's 20 professional fights in his career compared to 9 for Soriano. So it is more of a test. But if you want everyone to believe how good, you are, or how good we think you are in, continually, then you need to be finishing guys like Brendan Allen. And you know what? I think he does get it done. I think if it's not the first round, I don't think Brendan Allen sees the end of the second. So I'll go for Soriano to knock him out inside 10 minutes.
Why not? Why not? Stranger things have happened. Prath, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be an absolute scrap banger, or do you think this is going to be another decision on the card?
I do think this is going to be a banger. I think the X factor here is definitely Brendan Allen's jiu-jitsu. I know he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and that's one of his, I would say, is one of his more, I don't know, like the areas that he's better in, like jiu-jitsu, I'm a specialist in jiu-jitsu, I'm a specialist in Muay Thai. I feel like his specialty is within jiu-jitsu. So I feel like that if, as long as Soriano is able to stave off the takedowns and to the control, I feel like Brendan Allen's really good at control in the cage, octagon control in general, hold them up against the cage, take them down from a body lock, and then get on top of him and then start working from there. I think as long as Soriano is able, and we'll know within the first, I think we'll know within the first 30 seconds to a minute how good Punahele Soriano's takedown defense is, because I think he cracks Brandon Ali with a shot and Brandon Ali shoots for the legs immediately. So from that perspective, it's going to be an interesting fight, but I do think Soriano does him in inside the first round, to be honest. Knockout, look at his other fights as well, man. The guy is an absolute unit. Like I was saying to you boys beforehand, he is everything that I want Brad Tavares to be. Brad Tavares for me is one of the better Hawaiian fighters that are out there, and he just never seems to be able to pull the trigger in the right way. And Punahele Soriano comes in and just destroys everyone within a round. So I think he's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. Even in, within the next year or two, I think he's going to make some incredible developments. I think I'm hoping that they match him up against strong, better fighters as he goes along as well, so they can keep testing him and keep, and those are the fights that really help you kind of develop better as a fighter as well. So I'm hoping, Brandon Allen's stiff competition. I think the guys that Soriano has fought before aren't on the level of Brendan Allen, so this is a definite step up. If he's able to put away Brendan Allen, I want to see him hitting up some real stiff, top 10, top 15, someone legit. Like, not to say that any of the other guys he has fought before isn't legit. Brandon Allen, not legit. I think he is very, very much legit. So I also thought the same thing about Gerald Meerschaert before Hamza Chimaev destroyed him in one punch. So, I think Soriano destroys him, is what I'm trying to get across here.
Yeah, no. And, talking of bright futures and the future of mixed martial arts, well, the next person we're going to speak about is Maycee Barber.
Oh.
Okay, because I want to speak about Maycee Barber because I feel like we've always put her down a little bit on this show because of what she did to Roxanne Modafferi. Yeah. Okay, I put her down personally. I personally put her down. I did not speak for both of you. Here. Fair enough, but after what she did to Roxanne Modafferi, she went down in my books massively. I mean, she is like 23, so fair enough. She's still got a very, very long career ahead of her and a lot of maturing that needs to happen. And maybe, cutting the purse strings of her dad as well, who was obviously very vocal on social media, as we covered as well at the beginning of the year. But Miranda Maverick is no scrub. I mean, they are giving this girl everything to kind of make a name for herself. Her last fight was obviously against Alexa Grasso, who is the piece de la resistance, chef kiss, as people say nowadays. And I don't know where that's come from. I feel like it's become a thing in the past, 6 weeks. I've noticed it so much more. People are just putting chef's kiss. I mean, I've been a chef for 13 years and I don't think I've ever done chef's kiss. I don't know where that's come from or who invented it. It was
you haven't made like a beef bourguignon where you just like perfection.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Or exactly. But I don't think as a chef that you would ever put your hands to your mouth, because then you would then need to wash your hands again because it's not sanitary. So in the words of my EHO mind speaking, I mean, it just wouldn't happen. So don't touch your mouth, don't touch your hands to your face and then touch food. So chef's kiss, not a thing, just for the world to understand, okay? But no, Maycee Barber obviously losing against Roxanne Modafferi and then losing once again against Alexa Grasso in a decision fight, which Alexa Grasso had an absolutely phenomenal performance. Miranda Maverick is going to be a hell of a challenge for her this weekend, man. A hell of a challenge. Prath, we were talking a little bit before we press record about you think Maverick's just going to fly through there, right?
I think Maverick's last couple of fights have just been so good, and I think when you have so much of that confidence in the octagon, 5-fight win streak, most of them are finishes. Like they're setting her up for success here. Like, not to say that Maycee Barber is a scrub or a pushover or any of those things. I do think that she is going to be great. I don't think she is right now. I think she is still very much in the growing phase of her mixed martial arts career. To throw her someone like Maverick, who is just so hungry and just really like, I feel like she's just so much more ferocious than Macy Barber. Like when she's in the cage, she's there to F her B up, if you know what I mean. And so yeah, I think she flies through her. I really do. I don't think Macy Barber has the technical skills to really hang in there with Miranda Maverick. And I think Miranda Maverick, as you watched in the last couple of fights, is just going to take her down and maul her, kind of Khabib style. Really, it's what it's going to look like. I think she does probably finish her as well. I think Macy Barber's tough. I think she's going to really want to hang in there. I think it's one of those ones where she'll like get into like a turtle position on the floor, and Maverick will be like cracking her with shots, and the referee stops her, and then Macy Barber gets up straight away like, oh, I'm fine, what are you doing? It's gonna I feel like it's gonna be one of them kind of ones. And Mark Smith obviously on the reffing job there, because we can't have a Mark Smith fight go right, it has to go wrong. So that's what I'm predicting. I think it's going to be like, I think like maybe like end of second round, maybe end of third round, like getting towards the end of the third round. I think she gets Macy Barber into that kind of turtle position on the floor and starts pounding her out. And then it gets like a referee stoppage. And then, you know, Macy Barber's going to like protest it and do all that kind of crap like she does. She'll be a child.
Yeah. Or even like what do you mean? I didn't tap. I wasn't out.
Yeah.
One of them ones.
Yeah.
I think what we should also incorporate into our show is what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? You know, when something strange happens, you know, because we'll
call it the Mark Smith moment.
The Mark Smith moment. What is going to be the Mark Smith moment this weekend? You know, is Aspen Ladd's knee going to fall off? Like her kneecap will just end up in her foot. Like you just don't know. Stranger things have happened. Do you know what I mean? And when we did the 264 breakdown, it was like, I'm sure we said something mad is going to happen. And then Conor McGregor breaks the bottom of his foot. Like, I'm sure we said something about that. But George.
Just one thing before George jump in. I do want to just say, like, I really like, I think if Miranda Maverick, and I'm hoping that she is able to come through here and get the win here, I'd love to see Miranda Maverick against a real, like, legit flyweight. I want to see her against the Andrea Lees, the Roxanne Modafferi's, the Jessica I's, the Joanne Calderwoods, who do, for their credit, you know, are, you know, veterans. They've been there for a long time. They'll put on a solid fight, right? A Joanne Calderwood fight is always going to be solid, right? Does she deserve to be number 6? I don't know. I don't know. I see a Miranda Maverick being able to get through Macy Barber, get a big fight like that, a Joanne Calderwood, a Viviane Araújo, a Jessica I, and just really like catapult up the rankings. She's got a very, very bright future ahead of her. She seemed like when you watch the post-fight interviews and stuff, she's got a solid head on her shoulders. Like she seems to be very, very smart, and just a great character. So all the success to her.
No, you know, and it's nice to see, you know, some of these fighters after a fight, they're very respectful to their opponent, very respectful to their call outs, you know, like, oh, I'd really like to fight you. I think that'd be really great. And then you get some other people that are obviously not as much. And it's strange, you know, we talk about the heel and obviously like the person that plays the bad guy and the person that plays the good guy and that kind of stuff, you know, but it's nice to see that there is a solid separation between them. But then there's also a lot of people that are just like the other guys. Do you know what I mean? Those people that are there just cracking on, you know, just completely cracking on. But George, what do you think? Are you on the future of Macy Barber, the hype train? Do you think she gets a win this weekend, turns it round and breaks her fight losing streak? Or do you think the Maverick completely flies through her, as the Maverick is a Top Gun reference, right? So she'll be flying this weekend.
Like what you did.
I agree with Prath. I think Maverick flies through Macy Barber for the simple reason that I think Miranda Maverick knows who she is inside the octagon, and I don't think Macy Barber does quite yet. And I think until she figures that out about who she is as a fighter in the UFC, where her qualities best lie, etc., I don't think you'll see the best version of her. I think Maverick's just worked out quicker. I think the best example is Paul Craig when he comes to think people working at. Paul Craig knows what he's best at. And every time now, that is where he's going to head because he knows, and it's the same for Miranda Maverick. And it will be the same for Macy Barber when she works it out. But at the moment, she doesn't quite know. That's fine. She's only 23 years old. And she's been like pushed into this kind of like hype position, which has been a bit unfair on her. And I think she'll come short again, but we don't look at losses too much in mixed martial arts. There's a long career ahead for Macy Barber, and I just think Miranda Maverick is on a different trajectory right now to her, and I expect her to win. I expect Miranda Maverick to be comfortably inside the top 8 or 9 by the end of this year. I think she's that good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see why not. As we always speak about the female divisions are a little bit lighter with regards to their quality and their talent. Not to say there isn't quality, talented people in their divisions, but I feel like all you need to do is make a moderate amount of noise in the 125, 115, 135 divisions, and you can literally propel yourself straight to the top. Obviously, last weekend we saw the return of Miesha Tate, and such a large name and such a big presence as well in the octagon. I feel like 2 more fights and she'll be shooting for a title straight away. Especially, it was unfortunate that the hype behind that was based on Marion Renault's last fight. It was her retirement fight. I felt like that was more of the conversational piece before the actual fight itself. It was, this is my last fight. I'm going to go out there and give it all I've got. And then obviously you take a loss and it's like, well, I did say it was my last fight, and I don't really mind win or lose. And they'll just fade off into the distance. You're never going to hear anything from her again. But then Miesha Tate can obviously propel herself from that win. And all you need is 1 or 2 wins solidly in the female divisions, and you are up there in the 5 to 6 mix. And then, as we say, you're in there against the absolute best. You're in there against the killers, the killers of the killers. You're in there against Nunes, Shevchenko.
Here's your prize, guys. An assassin.
Exactly.
You're in the 1% of the 1%.
Exactly that. Exactly that. So both of these women, I feel, have got very, very bright futures. It's great to see some new talent coming through as well. As much grief as we do give Macy Barber, fingers crossed she can put on a fantastic performance because I think she's got a lot of potential.
3-4 years down the line, she's going to be great. 3-4 years down the line, like to pull her into the UFC at 23 years old is wild. Like Chase Hooper in the UFC is wild. Like he like, I feel like you should be like 25. You should be 25 plus. Like in the sense that like that's where you really kind of get who you are as a fighter, as a person. Unless you're a freak like John Jones and you can win a title at 23 years old, 1% of 1% of people, I think in 3-4 years, she will have learned the lessons, the humbleness of mixed martial arts and, taking these losses. Like if she's able to learn from those in a couple of years, she's going to be a phenomenal fighter. But just right now, I think she's just a little bit too green. And I think she's got a lot of work ahead of her. No,
I completely agree, man. I completely agree. And then up next, the fight that we're looking forward to as well is Kyler Phillips versus... All right, I'll let you, Prath, you can do it. Who's Kyler Phillips fighting?
Julian Paiva.
Okay, I want to hear Can you do it in a Portuguese accent for me, please?
Oh man, see the thing with me and accents is I have to hear it and then I can do it. I can't just bust out a Brazilian accent.
Julian Paiva.
Julian Paiva.
No,
I did that set with the chef's kiss.
Yeah, but we're probably saying it completely wrong. I've got a gun in my kitchen that's Brazilian. I'll ask her tomorrow, and I'll get her to say it for me, and then we can repeat it on Sunday. And there
you go.
And we'll probably be massively wrong. It's like Michelle Pereira. One of my friends gave me so much grief for that because we were all saying it wrong. We're all saying it wrong. Okay.
You kind of say it like paella.
What is
right?
it?
Paella.
I have no idea, man.
Is it Michael? Is it Michael Pereira?
Yeah, jury on the lagers.
I was about to say Michael on the lagers.
Yes, Michael Malaga's, right?
That's it. Mickey,
Yeah.
Mickey. We got Julian Paeva, who's coming in with a 20,
Malaga.
20-3 record. So he's coming in with a lot more experience than Kyler Phillips. But Kyler Phillips, I feel, has had some fantastic outings in the octagon recently. Most recently against Song Yadong. Getting a win over Song Yadong, a guy that's got a lot of hype behind him on a pay-per-view event as well, UFC 259. It's good. I mean, that's a very good place to be and a very good place to be seen as well. And then obviously Julian Paeva it's going to be a tough fight for this man, being ranked 14 in the bantamweight division as well. Prath, do you think Kyler comes out and gets it done? Because we were super hyped on Song Yadong, and then all of a sudden Song Yadong's off and Kyler Phillips on.
That fight made me fully understand why Kyler Phillips is called the Matrix. Like, it was awesome to watch, and he really he just out technicaled. I don't know if that's a word, but just like out technique Song Yadong, which is very tough because Song Yadong's got very, very good technique, and he trains out of Team Alpha Male, so you know that they've got like good striking coaches, good wrestling coaches, all that kind of stuff. So really, really impressive stuff from Kyler Phillips on his last outing. Again, another guy that I think has got a really good future ahead of him. Someone that maybe, I don't know. I rewatched the Song Yadong fight maybe a couple of days ago, and the thing that stood out for me was he was very aggressive, but maybe not as defensively sound as I would really want him to be. You know, when you're fighting someone like a Song Yadong, you're gonna have to take big shots because that's all he throws. He doesn't throw jabs. He throws like overhands in every shot. So maybe a little bit defensively, I would want him to be a little bit better. But maybe in the training camp leading up to this, that was one of the things that they focused on. So really, really looking forward to this fight. Julian Paeva coming up from flyweight as well. Like, I know I want to say he was ranked at flyweight, and that's why they're giving him a ranked bantamweight fight. It could also be that Kyler Phillips couldn't find anyone else to fight and nobody wants to fight him. Based off of that last fight, I don't blame you. I think Kyler Phillips probably wins by a decision here. I think he's going to just very much outpoint him, just out finesse him, really, just out everything Julian Paeva. I do think that Julian Paeva is tough, durable, has a lot of heart. He's fought some I think he's fought like Kai Kara France and some of the more heavier hitters in the flyweight division. Bontarin as well, who's a heavy hitter in the flyweight division as well. And he's only come up short against very few people as well. Yeah, like 20 wins, 3 losses. So that shows that he is relentless, if anything. He's fighting someone that's so technically sound, though, that I think he's gonna be a little bit lost in there. And I think he's gonna struggle to find his pace, his rhythm, his distance when you've got a guy in front of you who's just throwing such great technique. So that's kind of my assessment. I think Kyler Phillips is going to win here by decision.
That means there's going to be a lot of decisions on this fight card. And as we know,
I hate to say it, man.
It's annoying, but I don't want to hype myself up too much, but last week I put a bet on for 3 finishes in the co-main, the main, and the co-main, and they all finished, and I won £27.50 off of a £1 bet. That is the dream. That is the dream, people. Finishes. Bet on the finishes because they are so rare, it would seem. George, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be a decision night, or do you think that Kyler Phillips is going to come out, or Julian Paeva is going to come out and put some absolute work on and catch a W here inside of the 15?
I'll tell you what, let's go with Kyler Phillips to win. And because you like to win money, Connor, let's say Kyler Phillips does finish Julian Paeva. And the only reason why I'm thinking this, though, is obviously Paeva is kind of jumping up in weight. Kyler Phillips obviously sits at 135 pounds, cool. And obviously, once he's kind of rehydrated his body, he's in a way above that as well. So the kind of potential kind of power that to go along with a technique that he has might be too much for Paeva, especially when Paeva's I don't think he's ever fought this weight category, so he probably hasn't been hit as hard as he might be on Saturday night. So do you know what? I'm going to take Kyler Phillips to win. I think there is a lot of great potential with Kyler Phillips, although it's very much like Soriano. There's still a lot of work to be done, but the early signs are really promising. And yeah, come on, let's put a £1 bet on and say that Kyler Phillips knocks him out.
Yeah, why not? Why not? You know, is it worth £1? Probably. It probably is worth £1. Now, we were a little bit perplexed at this co-main because when you have two big names like Corey Sanhagen and TJ Dillashaw, to have Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chazon as a co-main is a bit strange. It is a bit strange. I'm not sure what kind of demographic they're trying to reach to. Obviously, I think the main card of this starts at 10 p.m., right? Or no, midnight? For us in the UK?
Yeah, midnight.
So it's a bit strange to who they're trying to appeal to. I mean, so in the States, that would probably be around like 6, 7 p.m., right?
No, hang on.
In Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they're trying to capture the early evening kind of school kids, I guess. I don't know.
I think they mix it up. I think that they just generally like will mix. I think it also depends on like what American sports are dominating that weekend, right? If you think about it, it's always like, there's a big NFL game or an NHL game or something. I don't know much about American sports. I'm not going to lie. So I definitely think that makes a difference when it comes to what times they start. But I think also like, you know, especially when there's like, you know, European fighters at the top of the card or like if it's a numbered card, they'll put them at like the top of the prelims because they want to appeal to that European audience. So like I've seen a few, when Darren Till fights, we usually get it quite a bit early and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they kind of mess around with the times to maybe see where like, hey, maybe this is a really good time. Maybe this is a really good time. You know, some people in America, maybe like, you know, like in Australia, when we're, you know, at 6 a.m. dying, trying to stay awake like this, Australia are having breakfast. They're chilling, having breakfast, watching the fights, which I think I'd actually prefer to watch on a Sunday morning as opposed to watching it on Saturday, Saturday morning.
Violence in the morning. Oh, lovely.
Violence with a bacon sandwich. Who doesn't like it?
Exactly. Bacon butty and a knockout.
Let's all move to Sydney.
That's it. I think that is what we all need to do in the UK. We all need to, especially fight fans, we all need to move to either Australia or New Zealand, and then we get some amazing fighters as well. Then we get like Robert Whittaker, we get Israel Adesanya. You know, we take them guys. They're like we live there. They're part of us now.
I tell you what, though, if it's going to be this hot in Sydney all the time, then I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see because the camera's probably not very good. I am beading up. I've got the window open. There is zero air. I could literally hold a piece of paper here and it would not move. There is no air coming through here whatsoever. You know, I always make the same joke with my girlfriend. I always say, it's like Jordan Sparks in here. Because she had a song with Chris Brown that was no air, you know. You can have that. Take that with you. Anyway, back to the fights. We've got Aspen Ladd versus me.
Can we call that a soon-to-be dad joke?
Yes, I mean, yeah. I'm soon to be a dad, so the dad joke never ending.
Getting in that practice early, I see.
Prep. You know, being a chef, man, I get my prep done. Aspen Ladd has got a lot of hype behind her as well coming into this. I feel like 9-1 is not bad. That's not a bad record at all to have and to be coming into this fight. But still, I do not understand how this is a co-main. I think it's a very perplexing co-main when we have such strong fights on this card, you know. But Prath, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen this weekend with this fight? Because, I mean, Aspen Ladd's an absolute unit. I mean, she has got biceps for days, proper biceps for days. And she started fighting when she was very, very young as well. Got a great win over Kunitskaya, which is obviously unfortunate for her. Lost against Jermaine Durandamy. And then after that, there's kind of the names just fall off the list a little bit. But Chazon is obviously not coming in with an amazing record either with regards to who she's fought. Marion Renault, who we've seen just take a loss at the weekend to Misha Tate. But Prath, what do you think? Do you think these women are the future? I mean, they're both like mid-20s, so they could potentially be the future.
I know Dana White absolutely loves Aspen Ladd because I know that she always seems to be in like, I think that Durandamy fight was a main event. I want to say that was a main event, which was really weird because, and it was like it was like in Sacramento where there's like none of this makes sense, but we're gonna put her in the main event. Why not? I think maybe if it's not Dana White, the matchmakers definitely rate Aspen Ladd very, very highly. She's got good wrestling. Her striking isn't great. I think Macy's got probably better striking than Aspen Ladd here. So I think Aspen Ladd is going to be looking to shoot early and often. And I think that's mostly what you see in most of her fights, to be honest. So to have it in a co-main event spot is very, very strange because you want people to be tuned in for the main event. I think name value alone, these two at the main event hold a card. You could have no fights on the prelims and main card and just have Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw and then just repeat that fight, 8 times. People are going to tune in because we know that that's going to be fireworks. Aspen Ladd is not exactly known for fireworks. I know she's a tough fighter. She's got some great wins over some great names. But again, like we were going back to talking about being entertaining for the fans and them giving you the spots. That's not what we're seeing here. So it kind of goes against a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. But I think she's just going to kind of decision her. It's going to be a wrestle fest. It's going to be a lot of holding down. I think Macy, if she's able to stay off the takedown, has got great striking, and could probably get a TKO win if she wanted to. But I think Aspen Ladd is relentless. As you said, she's a unit, man. Her thighs are ridiculous. Her arms are ridiculous. She looks like she could like pick up a truck. That's the impression I get of Aspen Ladd. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very unfortunate, as much as I hate to say it, because I know you hate me saying that all these fights are going to be decisions, but I think most of these fights are going to be decisions, man. I'm looking down the list again. Like the Miranda Maverick fight, I think is either going to be a really late stoppage or a decision. Darren Elkins is going to probably go to a decision. Aspen Ladd is probably going to go to a decision here. I think the main event is the one that's really going to blow people out of the water here because I don't think that fight goes all the way. And as much as I've said the rest of this fight card is going to go all the way, that's the only fight that I see is really two guys that are just absolute killers taking each other's head off. And that and Randy Costa versus Adrian Yanez is the only two fights that really like speak to that for me, if you will. And I think Soriano kind of brings that, but I think he's just going to knock Brendan Allen out in the first round anyway. So it's not like he's coming in to have a wild fight. He's coming in to knock this dude out in one round. So yeah, decision, boring. I think again they'll probably be great in the next 3-4 years, but right now I think it's just very much like go out there, get the win, get your paycheck, get your second paycheck, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And it's always going to be a seesaw, isn't it? There's going to be ups and downs in everyone's career, man. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens between these two absolute warriors, Yep. They put it on the line. They put it on the line every single time they get out there, man. George, tell me, what's your take on this weekend?
What, on the Aspen Ladd Macy Chazon fight?
Chazon, yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Can we move on to the main event?
Absolutely. Let's move swiftly on to the main event of the evening. Corey Sandhagen versus TJ.
There's something about the bald head as well that just made that even more ominous.
It was a bit serial killery, wasn't it? It was like, I don't care about these two ladies. I might kill them both. I
do care about them. I do care about them, but I just think it's another piss poor performance from the UFC to make them a co-main event. That's all. And so I'd rather talk about the big one, that is Corey Sandhagen, which we're all going to rave about him right now, and about how we're desperate for him to get knockout a drugs cheat. So let's get on with it.
And George, we know that you are not a huge fan of people who take performance enhancing drugs, whether that be for whether that be for, I mean, he took something to help him lose weight, to get down to a weight that he probably shouldn't have gone down to anyway. I don't know whose idea that was, and when he went back to his team and went, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to drop like another 10 pound off of a frame that probably shouldn't really be doing so. Are we going to see John Jones fight at 155? No, because he's like 6'3". He's got an 88-inch reach. He would die. His bones don't weigh 155, So at some point, someone needs to say to these people and say to these fighters, look, man, I think you're a great fighter. I think you do anything you set your mind to. But do not drop another 10 pound. And if you need to take performance-enhancing drugs to get to where you need to be, you shouldn't be going there. You shouldn't be dropping down to a weight where you can literally get Henry Cejudo pushing you over and knocking you out within like 45 seconds. It should not be happening. But nevertheless, that's all in the past. He's done his time. He's had 2 years off. He is still a very, very well-respected mixed martial artist. Should he be coming in and fighting someone as high up as Corey Sanhagen? Probably not. Corey Sanhagen has made a lot of noise the past couple of years. He's learned how to be violent in the octagon, in all of the presser stuff that I've seen over the past couple of days. He is serial killer mentality in there. I am super jacked for this. Obviously, his win against Frankie Edgar as well was huge with the jump knee, putting him to absolute sleep. The soul
knockout of the year, right?
Absolutely, it's well
not even halfway through the year.
No. It's not knockout of the year. I'll tell what knockout of the year is. Cheery on the lagers over Dominic Reyes.
Very,
spinning
very good.
L. That's knockout of the year.
Very good. There is a lot of souls left on that mat. I can tell you that for free. There is a lot of souls left inside the octagon. Jury on the lagers leaving Dominic Reyes is one of them. And Frankie Edgar probably still be laying on the floor. It was like he had rigor mortis. Do you know what I mean? Like he was stiff as a board, man. Stiff as a board. But these two guys, as well respected as they are, they haven't got huge records. Corey Sanhagen 14-2, TJ Dillashaw coming in 17-4. They both had some fantastic wars against some fantastic opponents. Obviously, TJ Dillashaw knocking out Cody Garbrandt a good couple of times with some absolutely fantastic performances as well. But Prath, do you think the Sandman puts him to sleep, or do you think TJ can turn back the clock and put 2 years of suspension work into practice here at the weekend?
Man, this is the tricky one, man. This is a very, very tricky one. This is like outside of Randy Costa, Adrian Yanez, this is a very, very tough fight to call just because of we haven't seen TJ in a while. And I was watching before we jumped on the horn here. I was talking. Yeah, I feel you, George. I am dying right now. I watched Corey's pre-fight press. I wouldn't say it's a press conference, but when they sit in front of the media and they have their little back and forth. Corey Sanhagen was talking about how, the question was asked like, what TJ Dillashaw are you expecting to see? And he's like, we're all going to find out in the first round, the first minute of the first round. We're going to know exactly what TJ Dillashaw showed up. But outside of that, nobody really knows what he has been practicing. Is his style different? Is he going to come out wrestling heavy? Is he going to come out striking heavy? Like nobody knows anything of what TJ Dillashaw is doing. And I think it's very smart of TJ Dillashaw to really keep that a mystery. And he's done a good job of keeping that a mystery. And especially in the last couple of weeks where he's probably been doing a lot more media, a lot more, the ESPN interviews and all this kind of stuff. Like he hasn't really digressed in too much information about what his camp entails, what kind of skill sets have he picked up in this time. So that's the big question mark here. But man, do I want to watch Corey Sanhagen absolutely destroy TJ Dillashaw? Absolutely. Just from a fan's perspective, TJ Dillashaw kind of, even though he had his time out, I think people will really get over the TJ Dillashaw situation when TJ Dillashaw gets knocked the F out. I think that is the comeuppance that the people are looking for in this situation. I think the Sandman is just on such a good streak right now, and he's red hot, man. He's come in, he's had so many great performances. That Frankie Edgar fight, I think the jury on the Lagers knockout is great and amazing, but just the knee, the person he did it, the person he did it to Frankie Edgar, a legend of the sport, just the perfect game plan as well. Like drew his striking in and then threw the knee. Like the way he set it up was absolutely beautiful. And you could see he was baiting that knee out for like 20 seconds before he hit him with it. Man, like I just think that's so intelligent. He's got such a great personality and character. His character is incredible, and you've kind of seen the evolution of his character in the last like week or two. Like the way he's talking about it in the interviews now. He's going into a battleground. It's on site. If he starts talking crap to him outside the octagon, he's going to start fighting him outside the octagon. Like this is a different Corey Sandhagen we're seeing here, and I don't think it's necessarily because he's fighting TJ Dillashaw. I just think like after his loss to Aljamain Sterling, his mental just like switched on, man, and just like he's come out so aggressive. He's come out just like different mentality, man, and I just absolutely love it. I think he's got for someone who's such a clean cut human being to have such a savage personality inside of him is insane.
And anyone that's ever been beaten by Aljamain Sterling is now completely relinquished of the loss, because Aljamain Sterling has completely destroyed his career with his absolute saga that he's put on after the Piotr Jan fight. So, I'm not even going to recollect that Corey Sandhagen had a loss when he was just backpacked for like 3 rounds. And then he got rear naked choke, right? But he just got backpacked for ages. And it wasn't a performance from Aljamain Sterling. So that is null and void. And it is not a loss on his record. What we're going to do is...
Did Aljamain Sterling just get the legendary, the Zoom call is failed sign?
Exactly. It's finished and it's over. Signed, sealed and delivered. AJ is finished on the Fight and Talk 2 podcast, man.
I just think Corey is so red hot right now. He's on such a great streak. He's been consistent in his fights. Corey Sandhagen for the win here. I think he does finish TJ. I think TJ is as good as he is technically. TJ is so technically sound, man. The Bang Muay Thai, man, it's such an incredible program, and just like the striking from there is incredible as well. But I don't really want to put TJ Dillashaw over too much, man. I just think Corey Sandhagen is the story here. I think he does come out with the win here. I do think he gets the knockout. How he does it, I'm not too sure. If it's with the hands, it's with the knee, with the feet.
With the
He's
kicks,
done it all, man. He's done it all. Exactly. Yeah. I love that as well. I love diversity in finishes. Like most of the time it's a punch knockout, it's a right hook knockout, left hook, big left hook knockout. And they get on the mic, thank Jesus Christ, like Jesus Christ sitting up there saying, I love these big right hook knockouts. He does it with the feet. He does kicks. He does spinning kicks. He does flying knees. Like, I love it. Do we see him use these kind of diverse skills? I think this is the fight to really do it. You've got a guy against you as well who's looking to throw very diverse strikes as well. So I think it's, like from a mixed martial arts perspective, this is going to be a fight that people should tune into to show how good mixed martial arts is as a sport. I think this is the fight to really watch, because I think both guys, as much as I hate Dillashaw, he's good. He is good. He's former 2-time champion, right? You don't get to that level without being an elite fighter. But again, Corey Sandhagen, man, I love his story. I love his character. I love everything about him right now. He was asking for ESPYs and Fight of the Year awards and Knockout of the Year awards. He's heading there, man. He's really, really heading there. Stay consistent. Fight these guys like TJ Dillashaw. Go out for the title next. I think he's gonna, in the next year or two, Corey Sandhagen is going to be not only a champion, but I think he's going to be a very, very popular figure. I think I don't think enough people have seen his personality to really like grab onto him. But these kind of these are the fights that will allow the fans to really see him, see his character, see his fighting style, put it all together, and you've got the complete package there.
And what we need to take into consideration as well is TJ Dillashaw. The last time we saw him, he would have been in his prime at 33 years old. And, 2017, we saw him beat Cody Garbrandt. 2018, we see him beat Cody Garbrandt again. 2019, he took an L. But then you're looking at a guy that hasn't really had any consistent fights in 5 years. That's a long time to have off. A long, long time. Like when we saw Uriah Faber come back, and then get absolutely annihilated. He never should have been in there. Never should have been in there with a young murderer. Never. But nevertheless, I'm very intrigued as to George's take on this weekend, because is it going to be a 5-round destruction? The ref should stop it, throw in the towel kind of thing. Or do you want to see a quick finish from Corey Sanhagen and an early night and a big paycheck?
I don't care. I don't care what I see from Corey Sanhagen as long as I see it. That's the bottom line. So, yeah, when I think about Corey Sanhagen, my first thought actually goes to Israel Adesanya, because people mostly will say that Adesanya is the most pleasing on the eye mixed martial artist to watch. That's what most people probably will tell you. If they said, who's the best guy to sit and watch, they'll probably say Adesanya. Now, if you ask Adesanya, who's the best guy to watch, most of the time he says it's Corey Sanhagen. And I would agree with that. He's got that really incredible kind of almost like water-like motion to the way he fights, where it all just seems to come together perfectly all the time. And the one thing that I was almost thought was missing a little bit from him was a bit of a nasty streak, a guy who has come for violence. And I think we got it from the Frankie Edgar fight for sure. And now he said it himself in the build-up to this fight, and it's 100% there. And I think a mixture of the two together equals an incredibly dangerous mixed martial artist who currently is on a bit of a streak, because I thought the Mariah's performance was impressive. The finish for that was highlight reel. And then the Edgar one was even more impressive. And he's walking around the octagon for like a minute afterwards, screaming at the top of his lungs, saying, I'm coming for that belt. I'm coming for that belt. And I think he really, truly believes it. And there's not a fight. I can't think there's much more of a fight that I want to see more than Petr Yan against Corey Sanhagen for the title. I can't really think of many more fights in the UFC that I want to see more than that. So hopefully all the stars align. Sanhagen comes through Dillashaw this weekend. Yan beats that total muppet that is Aljamain Sterling. I mean, he is a total muppet, that geezer. And we get, at some point next summer, we get to see Yan against Sanhagen, which I think is the two best 35ers on the planet. So, yeah, look, I've been vocal about my dislike for Dillashaw. I actually dislike Dillashaw more his character than what he's done. I think he says he's remorseful, but I don't think he means it. That's the kind of vibe I get from him. And there's just nothing more I'd like to see than him get destroyed this weekend. So yeah, I fit all in on Corey Sanhagen, and I really hope that whatever way it happens, whether it's a 25-minute destruction and it's a 50-45, whether it's a 20-second knockout in the first round, I don't care how it happens or when it happens, as long as it does happen for Corey Sanhagen. And I hope he gets the win on Saturday night. It's nothing more than he deserves, man. He's been unbelievable. He's been a credit to the sport. He turns up, he fights whoever. He doesn't care. He'll do whatever it takes to become a champion, and he should be credited for that. And hopefully on Saturday, it will pay off for him big time.
100%. He's a very, very underrated fighter, I feel. Very underrated. I feel like he's got a lot of talent.
He's insanely underrated.
Yeah.
He might be one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. It's insane how people don't talk about him. People do not talk about Corey Sanhagen enough.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. The guy, man, he's had some amazing wins, had some amazing wars, like knocked out some veterans, to beat someone like Rafael Assunção as well in a decision. Like Assunção's got a very, very good mixed martial artist, and to take him to a decision is a credit to his well-rounded skill and ability as well. Nevertheless, we have completed our view of the card coming up this weekend. It's been great to have the 3 legs of the tripod back, and thank you so much for listening. And we will be doing a breakdown of this on Sunday, airing live on the Sportinarium radio station on Monday as well. We're going to fill our slot back, take back what is ours, and we'll be more consistent in the future. As I said at the beginning, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the great places. If you're watching our content on YouTube as well, thank you so much. Hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends. And if you got any comments or queries or concerns, feel free to pop them below. And the Eloquent Analyst, thank you very much as always. Lovely to see you back, my friend. Sweating as ever. George, nice to see your cow's lick, man. We can see your cow's lick front and center there. Looks good, man. Looks very good. Nice to see you as well in Casual Crush Corner. We didn't go through who was in Crush Corner, but if you can just give us a quick one on who's in Crush Corner this week.
TJ Dillashaw.
He's in Crush Corner. I don't believe you. I think he's going to be in Can Crush. He's going to be in Can Crusher Corner. He's going to get crushed like a can.
It's the main event man. It's the big man, Corey Sanhagen, of course, in Crush Corner this week.
That's it. The Sandman is in Crush Corner. We look forward to breaking down the fights afterwards. We'll be live tweeting as well. So pick that up on @FightingTalk2 over on Instagram as well. Same handle @FightingTalk2, and we'll be vocal as ever over there. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.